Sarah Chen sat quietly in the back row of the Galactic Defense Academy's combat training hall, her small human frame dwarfed by the towering Kithran warriors and armored Zephyrian cadets around her. At barely 5'4", she looked like a child among the 7-foot reptilian KYTH and the crystalline-shelled Zephyrians, who dominated the elite military program. Instructor Vexani, a battle-scarred Kithran veteran with 3 decades of combat experience, surveyed his latest class with obvious disdain when his eyes fell on Sarah. His forked tongue flicked dismissively as he addressed the assembled cadets. "Another human," he hissed, his translator rendering his words in standard galactic. "From the infamous Deathworld Terra, no doubt. Tell me, little one, what possible combat experience could you bring to this academy?" Sarah remained silent, her dark eyes focused straight ahead. The other cadets snickered, KYTH clicking their razor-sharp teeth, Zephyrians creating musical chimes with their crystal appendages. Humans were notorious throughout the galaxy as the weakest sapient species, coming from a backwater planet with ridiculously high gravity and hostile wildlife that somehow produced fragile, short-lived beings. "Today we practice combat scenarios," Vexani continued, activating holographic training weapons. "Since our human appears too intimidated to speak, perhaps she'd prefer to observe from the medical bay?" More laughter rippled through the class. Sarah finally spoke, her voice calm and measured. "I'd prefer to participate, sir." Vexani's mandibles spread in what passed for a Kithran grin. His species had evolved from apex predators on a world where the average gravity was half that of Earth. Their reflexes were legendary. Their natural weapons, claws, teeth, and armored hide, had made them the backbone of the Galactic Fleet's shock troops. "Very well. Since you insist on wasting everyone's time, you'll demonstrate first." He gestured to the combat circle. "Standard rules. First to land 3 touches wins. I'll even use a practice weapon to make it fair." Sarah stood and walked to the center of the mat. At 1.7 times Earth gravity, she moved with an ease that surprised some of the observing cadets. Vexani towered over her, his 8-foot frame rippling with predatory muscle, holding a training staff that crackled with harmless energy. "Begin!" he roared, lunging forward with a speed that had defeated countless opponents. What happened next would be discussed in academy halls for generations. Sarah didn't dodge. She moved into Vexani's attack. As the massive Kithran committed to his overhead strike, she stepped inside his reach, grabbed his weapon arm with both hands, and used his own momentum against him. Her right leg swept behind his knee, while her shoulder drove into his center of mass. Physics took over. Vexani, designed for a world with half Earth's gravity, found himself completely unprepared for the leverage and force generated by muscles that had evolved under crushing pressure. He hit the mat with a sound like thunder, the training weapon flying from nerveless claws. Before he could recover, Sarah had rolled him face down, one arm twisted behind his back in a joint lock that made his translator emit pain clicks. Her other hand held a pressure point on his neck that sent paralyzing signals through his nervous system. The chronometer showed 9 seconds. The hall fell silent except for Vexani's labored breathing. Sarah released him and stood, offering her hand to help him up. The instructor stared at her in bewilderment. "How?" he gasped. "Gravity on my homeworld is 1.7 times standard," Sarah explained matter-of-factly. "Everything there, the plants, animals, weather systems, evolved to be more aggressive, more efficient, more deadly than anywhere else in known space. We don't just survive it, we're shaped by it from birth." She looked around at the stunned faces of her classmates. "My species didn't become spacefaring despite coming from a death world. We became spacefaring because we come from a death world. Every human who makes it off-planet has already survived 18 years on the most hostile inhabited world in the galaxy." Vexani slowly got to his feet, his respect evident. What other capabilities should I expect from Deathworlders? Sarah's smile was both innocent and terrifying. Would you like to find out, sir? From that day forward, no one in the Galactic Defense Academy underestimated the quiet human in the back row. And Sarah Chen went on to become the youngest combat instructor in Academy history, teaching an entire generation of alien warriors that sometimes the most dangerous enemies come in the smallest packages.